Hey, Corona TV viewers, this is Peter Keys from Leonard Skinner. I want to wish you all a happy birthday.
First of all, let's just do the elbow bump because we can't do the handshake right now.
Hello, everybody on Corona TV. This is Macy Gray.
You're smiling, and I saw your beautiful daughter earlier, who I said could come on the show anytime. Welcome, Shiv Singh.
Thanks for having me, Joseph. Great to be with you.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Corona TV. It is Wednesday, May 20th. What could go wrong after yesterday? Answer, everything could go wrong. I don't even know if it was a wardrobe malfunction. It was more like a skin tone malfunction when I held my phone to the camera. The green screen went, I don't know what happened to it. And then suddenly it looked like my blood was boiling, literally. My face was redder than the shirt I'm wearing. I couldn't figure it out. But you know what? It energized me. And Mark Schaefer and I were having a little chat before, which I realized was way too short. We're going to have to figure out a way to catch up during the show, after the show, and another time. And Mark said, I love that idea of energy and re-energizing. And maybe that's what's happening right now is we are energizing ourselves. If we choose to, right? If we choose to, like I'm energized by the fact today, I believe LinkedIn comments will be able to be brought into the show. So if you are watching on LinkedIn, comment right now, and I guess I'll be able to see it and maybe bring it on. So every time something new happens, I get excited. Every time I try something new on the show, I get excited. Even when I fail and I screw up, I still get excited because I know that I'm learning and I know that I'm growing. And I know that you will give me, hopefully, you will give me that license to make mistakes. And that's why I wanted to be as transparent as I could with the show, which is to show you kind of, you know, all the different things that I'm trying and be very, very open about it. So, you know, as I said, if you are on LinkedIn right now, please, please, please tell me what's, you know, make a comment because I want to see if it comes up on the screen. Okay, so today is two things. It is National Be a Millionaire Day, which is great because most of us are not millionaires right now. Most of us are, in fact, looking at zero revenue. But maybe what National Millionaire Day or Be a Millionaire Day is about is this belief that we will be millionaires one day, and maybe not literally, but certainly in terms of our spirit, in terms of appreciating what we have. And the one thing that money can't buy, as we know, is our health. It's also National Rescue Dog Day. And one thing, I remember my wife said to me at the beginning of this, she said, I feel so bad for dogs right now and for dogs in shelters, and they're going to be put down, and who's going to take care of them and who's going to look after them. And the reality is that they are, from what I hear, I mean, I hope I'm not wrong, I hope I'm right, there are record levels of adoption going on right now. So people are not just rescuing dogs, but I think we could even argue the dogs are rescuing us. So it's good to know that our canine friends, man's best friend, woman's best friend, are in fact being taken care of. So two fantastic interviews this week, Tanya and Jeff. You need to go back and watch them. They were amazing. Having Mark here today is incredible, and Jay and Brian tomorrow. Remember, Jay and I will be having Corona cocktails tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You don't want to miss it. And I just hope I can remember what we talk about, because, you know, those cocktails, I put them down now. Every day I put them down. I'm not afraid to tell you that. Mark Schaefer went through a very public moment in his life. His life is public. He is a public figure. But as many of you know, Mark contracted the coronavirus, COVID-19. He did, his wife did. And what he did was he shared his entire journey and experience quite publicly. And he's going to share elements of it again with you today. And it's amazing that he's choosing to, that he chose to, and that he continues to choose to do that as well. So quick happy birthdays to my Facebook friends. Over there, you see Nancy Greenspan Wilson. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to all my LinkedIn friends from yesterday. I forgot to update this list, and so I got to it, and in fact, it was the day before's birthday. So happy birthday to you guys from yesterday. A few people, that Neil Davies, I used to work with him, Jonathan Sackett. I am on the Beancast with him from time to time. And then today, happy birthday to all of you guys as well. Remember, no matter what we're going through, we're not going through it alone. And even when we come out of this, we still shouldn't feel like we're going through it alone. Yesterday, I wish I had been alone because this was my little wardrobe malfunction or red face malfunction. Actually, the reason I'm showing it to you is because, like, I don't mind people laughing at me. God knows people are laughing at me all the time. I mean, I'd prefer them to laugh with me, but oftentimes they're laughing at me. But I'm actually showing this to you as well because the show is now live on Periscope. Now, I didn't even know Periscope existed anymore, but apparently it does. So I think Mark's having a laugh at that as well. So it's on Periscope, it's on Facebook, it's on YouTube, it's on LinkedIn, and these are all live platforms. I suppose I could be on Twitch, but I'm still not quite sure I know what that is. So that is me. You know, I can't do everything, guys. So that is us live on Periscope. What else can I share with you? Well, what I wanted to share with you is today the state of Connecticut opens up. And those are some scenes from Dan Woog's 06880 blog, what my town looks like, Westport, Connecticut, a ghost town for the most part. But today things are opening up. And I have to tell you, I'm not going out. I don't know where to go to. I don't know if I want to. I'll talk to Mark about this too. I'm still pretty scared. I'm scared and I'm not scared. I know I have to do it, but I don't know that I want to ever go to a restaurant again. It just seems like it's just foreign to me. It's strange to me. It's kind of a culture clash to me as well. So it's going to be interesting. This is phase one. Apparently phase two will be around about June 20th, when I guess hairdressers are still closed. It's still confusing. People are now going to go to outdoor restaurants or sit in the outdoor areas of restaurants. I just don't know that I'm ready to do that yet. I'm sorry. I just am not. I am not going to do this today because I want to bring Mark on. But tomorrow, perhaps, or Friday, Jan, I wonder if Jan is watching. Is Jan watching? Let me see. Looking at the comments. Yep, there he is. He said the week that is. Awesome. I'm not sure what that was in reference to, but I'm just glad that you're there. And while you're there, I'll just say hello to Daniel Nestle. He's saying hello to me and to Mark. Finally, you know, Dan, you're part of the show. I guess you're doing it because Mark's on, which is okay. I understand. I would do that too. Shout out to my mom who's watching. Joey Dumont, Bob Farnham, who said he's really looking forward to this episode. I have a feeling I know why. Stephen Rubin is here. So hello to everybody, but I don't see any LinkedIn comments. So I'm going to have to go check and find out what's going on. So what is the seated soliloquy? Well, the seated soliloquy is a phrase that the resident copywriter which is Jan Zlotnick, always he comes up with. And he basically said he loves it when, well, I'm seated right now. And it's a little bit of a monologue. It's a little bit of exactly. It's one of those. And I prepared something for you, but I'm not going to share it today, just because I'm waffling and the verbal diarrhea is kicking in. But I do want to tell you some pretty bad news. And the bad news, well, thanks, Dan. Dan just said he's been watching the show Sans Mark. But Avec or Sans Mark, I'm glad you're here, my friend. I just want to tell you that I'm moving over to the dark side. I have decided to accept advertising. This show is growing so much. There are, I think, when last I counted, 17 billion viewers, and I've decided to accept advertising. But don't worry, it's not what you think. It's not paid advertising. I had this epiphany the other day. I want to support entrepreneurs and I want to support small businesses. And so from now on, from today, every day I will be promoting a small business or an entrepreneur. You just have to send me information on your business, and I will do a live read. I will put you into the show. It is free, and it's always going to be free. It's the least I can do for you. Now, just to be clear, it would be okay if it were a diner but that's probably not going to work for a global audience and for a web show. So I would prefer it if you have a URL. I would prefer it if someone can buy from you remotely or virtually or digitally, whether it's a book, your book, or whether it's a consulting business. I would love to do my part right now. So if you know someone who is struggling right now, if you are struggling, just email me, and I'm going to go ahead and put you on and do these live reads. And I actually have one. I have two actually to start off with. I mentioned these guys last week. It's a company called YouFoodie, and it's out of London. Actually, they didn't even send this in, but I just want to promote them. They run hands-on cooking sessions for adults and kids. And they basically are doing it through Zoom right now. They also, of course, do private groups, and they have a monthly charity cook. But this is a business now that has been able to essentially pivot themselves and really take themselves to the next level, specifically using Zoom. And so let me see, there we go. This Saturday, you can prepare your own sushi rolls and poke bowls and join a whole group of people. It's £15, only £15. It's something to do with the entire family, and it's UK time. So in New York time, it would be 12 to 1:30. You just have to book at youfoodie.co.uk/zoomsushipoke.html. You know, if you do it, you'll see my wife and daughter. They'll be doing it as well. And I have one more, you know, someone who has become a friend of the show. Bob Farnham is on the show every day. He's always giving us those you know, butt ugly hashtags. He's on the Zoom after show every single day. And Bob actually has a day job. He's known as Bob the Green Guy. And let me go ahead and put his little crawl in as well. He actually knows a thing or two about video and audio production, and specifically Zoom production. He does a lot of work with politicians and helps them as well. Now that they're, you know, Joe Biden in his basement or Bernie Sanders, a lot of the politicians, he's in Vermont, which is why he has a connection to Bernie Sanders. There are a lot of people out there that are trying professionally, you know, politicians that are, you know, have no choice. They have to campaign online, and they're doing a terrible job at that. But Bob can help. And if you are looking to move your business or your campaign online and using Zoom and using video and using lighting, I mean, you know, Bob will tell you, he'll be the first person to tell you that my lighting's terrible. I mean, look at me, look at the shine. I'm still trying to work out the lighting. My green screen malfunctions all the time, but Bob will help you. So support YouFoodie, support Bob Farnham, you know, Bob the Green Guy, support local businesses. And if you are a local business, now is the time to send in your information, and I will support you. Well, one guy that I want to support right now is Mark Schaefer. He doesn't really need my support, but we all need support in general. So, Mark, welcome to the show, my friend.
I'm so happy to be with you. I'm honored. I've been looking forward to this so long because, I mean, I've just loved you and your intellect from early on the Mitch Joel podcast days. That's when I became your fan. So this has been, I just couldn't wait to get on with you.
Well, you know, we had David Merman Scott on talking about fanocracy. The fan support is mutual. And I actually remember our first meeting at South by Southwest. Mm-hmm. And you had reached out to me when you saw I was going to be there.
No, I came running down the hall. I wanted to meet
security. It was amazing. And, you know, we don't get to do this that often. That's the problem when we're running at 1,000 miles per hour. And then life gets in the way, and specifically COVID-19. And, you know, you probably wouldn't, you would have been on my radar once I started Corona TV, because you would have been one of the first people I would have wanted to be on the show. But I couldn't get you on the show initially, because, as many people know, Corona came to town and knocked on your door. And I wonder if you wouldn't mind sharing elements of your story. And there are two parts, right? There's the part of what actually happened to you, and then there's the part where you chose to share this very publicly.
Well, my wife first came down with this. She was on a ski trip in Idaho, which had like no cases at that time, but apparently a lot of people from Seattle were escaping to Idaho, and it actually became a hot spot. And when she came home from her trip, she was sick, and after she had a fever for like 5 days, she got tested and she was positive. And then the amazing thing was, I didn't start showing symptoms until after she was better. So, like, you know, I could take care of her, then, you know, she could take care of me. You know, I would say, you know, looking at the whole world and how this virus has unfolded, I would characterize my symptoms as sort of moderate, because I didn't have to go into the hospital. And I had, you know, I had a few scary days where my, you know, the chest pressure was the thing that was really, really weird. And there were a couple days when the chest pressure was getting worse and worse and worse. And the CDC says that's one of the signs you need to go to the hospital. And I did not want to go to the hospital. So I sort of waited it out, and, you know, it ended up being okay. You know, I think the main lesson I learned from this, Joseph, was the mind game. That there's this, it's almost like this mental strain that's as bad or worse than the physical problems. Because number one, what you learn is that nobody knows what they're doing. There is no cure. There is no medicine. You just let it roll through your body, you know, unless you have to go to the hospital. And, you know, well, a lot of well-meaning people send you all these voodoo cures, trying to help. And then, you know, my symptoms and my wife's symptoms, they were like different every day. It was just like throwing something different at you every day. And so you didn't know what was going to be next. You didn't know if it was going to get worse. Mine lasted for about 3 weeks. So, you know, I had a fever for 15 straight days. And then finally got well enough and tested negative again. Now, about your question about, you know, the decision to talk about this publicly, I had been doing like you. I love what you're doing to help and create content and be generous. So I started a video series called Embrace the Chaos. Embrace the Chaos, right? So we're in this time, all this uncertainty. What do we do? How do we handle it? How do we focus? And, you know, I was doing that a couple times a week and was looking forward to it. And then all of a sudden, boom, my wife got it. Boom, you know, now I got it. It's like, what do I do? And my instinct and my family heritage is to sort of go quiet. It would be like, go under a rock, you know, just get through it. It's, you know, it's nobody's business. It's sort of my family heritage. My dad probably could have some, you know, crazy disease and we'd never know about it, because that's just our sort of style. But then, you know, there's so many people who are connected to me, and I was being very public with all this content, and I knew this was going to get out. And, you know, I'm so fortunate and blessed, Joseph, to have so many people, thousands of people all around the world who watch me, who care about me. And I thought, okay, you know, I need to say something about this, but, you know, I don't know if I want to. And here's sort of what I hung on to. I thought, what would Brene Brown do? Oh,
how about that? You didn't expect that.
Oh, you are the man. That is scary good. You you know, and I think Brene Brown would say, just start with be brave. Just start there. And, you know, and when this whole thing started, I was disoriented like all of us because I lost all my business like you, right? And it took me about 3 days to realize that in my heart, I'm a teacher. I'm a teacher in everything that I do, and that I still can be a teacher, but the world needs me to teach something else right now. And so I gained my footing again. And I thought, well, look, I can use this as an opportunity to teach. For many people, I'm going to be the first person they know that has this disease. So I can destigmatize the disease. I can use, if I give an update, I can use that as an opportunity to lift people up and encourage people. And so that's how I decided to use my platform. And, you know, based on the response, I think it went really well, because in fact, I was the first person that many people knew. And so they were intensely interested in everything that was going on. And, you know, I didn't go into a lot of details of what I was doing, but, you know, about every 5 to 7 days, I posted an update and said, hey, I'm still doing okay. You know, I'm not getting worse. And here's kind of what's going on. And then use it as an opportunity to also create a message of hope. You know, I've said often that, you know, leaders dispense hope. And that's important to me, to set a good example and try to be a leader in this time. And I think one way we can all do that, as you're doing it, is to, you know, dispense hope.
You know, it's so interesting to me. As you were talking, there were a few things that I thought need to be emphasized or reframed. The first is, as we were discussing before, and you didn't even know this, that my wife contracted the virus as well. And I wasn't even here. I was in South Africa. And I saw, you've probably seen this all the time, people post on Facebook and they go, do you know anyone who has anyone directly or indirectly that has contracted the virus? If so, how many? And a lot of the comments are, nope, no one person. And I wrote 45 plus. And even you were shocked by that number. Literally 45 people, maybe more, in the area that I live. And it seems to me, as you say, there is still a stigma, but more importantly, there's still a lack of knowledge and education and awareness when all the states are opened up and going back, and people don't even know what the symptoms are for the most part. I just found out through David Meerman Scott that there's something called COVID toe. Who knew? And so it is so important that you share that, because you'd be surprised how many people wouldn't have a clue. I wouldn't even be able to say, I know someone or of someone, if you hadn't done what you did.
Yeah, well, thank you. And that was one of the great lessons I learned through this, is that, I mean, and first of all, I want to say the medical professionals who worked with me were amazing. I mean, they were so comforting and so positive. And, you know, they said, don't worry, whatever you read in the news, we have a place for you. We have a bed for you. If things would go wrong, we're going to be here. They were just so comforting and so positive in every step of the way. But the one thing you realize is we don't know. We just don't know. There is no medicine. Yeah. There is no cure. And it's like a pilot trying to fly a plane without an altimeter. There's no dashboard. They're going by their instinct. And so I think we just have to have a great deal of compassion for these people who are just doing their best. And we still don't know. As you mentioned, this COVID toe thing, it seems like every day we're learning something new. And I'll give you a great example. As I got into this, one of the symptoms I had was this mental fogginess. I couldn't read, I couldn't write, I couldn't concentrate, and I was on no medicine. So because I was a statistic, I was getting a call every day from the health department to check on me. And I said, I just got to tell you, I think this has something to do with the virus. And what they discovered is that because the virus is it's lowering your oxygen level. I was basically in a state of hypoxia, like going to the top of Mount Everest, right? I was disoriented. I wasn't getting enough oxygen. And midway through my illness, they added that as a symptom. That's how much they didn't know. Chris Cuomo, the CNN commentator, started reporting on the same thing. He said, I have this mental disorientation. I just don't understand why this is happening. Same thing. And now they're reporting that 30% of the people that have had this have had some sort of neurological attack, lack of smell, lack of taste, something with this like this mental fogginess.
My wife went through that as well with where she lost her sense of smell and taste, and she still hasn't recovered her sense of taste. In fact, she says everything tastes burnt and everything smells like smoke.
Yeah.
And so it's crazy. You know, Mark, I want to say something else, which I picked up on when you were talking, but we have a whole bunch of comments, and I just wanted to share some of them. We've got Steve Morris, who said, frontline workers are amazing. J.S. Gilbert said, I know over 25 people that contracted the disease, and sadly, as well as 3 people who did not recover. So we're so sorry to hear that, and we send our condolences to you. It's unbelievable when we think about what's happening. And then on a slightly lighter note, we've got John Jantsch.
Jantsch.
What? Jantsch, duct tape marketing. Is he still doing duct tape marketing?
Yes, he is.
John,
and he has and I'm going to put in a plug. Yeah, he has an amazing new book out too. It's a daily diary, a daily journal, so check that out.
Hey, John, come on the show. Contact me.
Come on the show, John,
and I'll come on yours. You know, if you'll have me. You know, and then David Ormano. David, you're the first comment on Periscope. So I guess someone is on Periscope. It's still working. That's great. That's great to see. And what I did pick up is that although I got a note saying that LinkedIn comments were now, in fact, live coming through, I guess they aren't, because there have been some LinkedIn comments. Pablo Killian said, hi, Joe. Pablo from Argentina. Grant Lyon said, do good, do well. And I'm trying to see if anyone else. So at least there are some comments. So we're learning all the time. It's just a little bit of a bit of a respite. But here's what I wanted to say to you, Mark. You said that your instinct wasn't, in fact, to go public and to share. And in fact, your family's instinct is the same, that, you know, your dad. And I thought to myself, I would have almost assumed incorrectly that Mark Schaefer would have shared it publicly because it's part of what he preaches, and talking about transparency and openness and social. And then I realized, I caught myself, because you know what? We think we know people, but we don't know them. I mean, we think we know them because of their public persona. Because it's the same thing like celebrities. It is an element of celebrity. And it just hit me that your instinct wasn't to share or to overshare. And in fact, when I read one of your posts, what if, God forbid, you had taken a turn for the worse?
I know.
What would have happened then?
Yeah, I mean, and you know, the whole idea of, you know, being open and transparent is really something I've had to learn over the years. And, you know, I started getting into the social media world, blogging and creating content. And I was very sort of, you know, uptight and corporate and very, very private. And then, you know, I'll give a shout out to my friend, Ginny Dietrich. She is a role model, really, for just kind of talking about her life in a way that builds trust, that builds emotional connection. And I marveled at the way she was able to do this. And I thought, why can't I be more like her? And so it's been a journey for me where I would just like experiment and open up a little bit. And every time I opened up, I was rewarded, because people would say, oh, Mark, how did you know? I was struggling with the same thing. How did you know? We were just talking about this thing. So, you know, I'm still not the best at it. But I realize it's important. I think, as you mentioned early in the show here, that, you know, I am a bit of a public figure and I have thousands of fans around the world, and they deserve to know what I stand for. I mean, they don't need to know everything going on with me, but I want them to believe in me, and I want them to create that connection with me. And the only way to do that is to show what I believe in and what I stand for. And so you have to open it up a little bit at least. And that, but it's always an internal struggle for me to be open like that. I'm naturally a very private person and an introvert, really.
It's as you were saying that, I'm thinking, what a beautiful soundbite that hopefully people can share and embrace, because there are so many people out there that are introverts themselves, and they know that they need to utilize social media more, but they haven't found their place or their space or their authentic voice. And I think that, you know, you use Instagram stories pretty well, I think, and it's just your life, but it endears me to you, and it makes me feel a little closer to you, and I have an idea of what you're doing, even if you don't know that I'm voyeuristically following you, and I'm sure vice versa when I post a story. And so I guess the message to people there is, A, if you don't try, you'll never know.
Yeah.
And B, just try, right?
Yeah, just try.
Figure it out. So now, Mark, we have so much to discuss, but last night, as I was busy prepping and setting up, you know, the show, I saw an announcement that a certain Mark Schaefer, I'm sure no relation, has joined B Squared Media as their COO. And I thought to myself, Mark, you've chosen CoronaTV as your global launch partner to announce.
Yes, that's right. This is an exclusive. Truly is. This is world breaking news. Well, B Squared Media was founded by a very good friend of mine, Brooke Sellis. And Brooke and I have worked together very closely for about 5 or 6 years. And really, I mean, she was doing things to kind of support me in my business. I would hire her to do certain things. And then last year, she became the co-host of my podcast. And I started to learn more about her and her business. And this is what I found. All of us, I think, at some time have been struggling with finding great outsourced resources for ads or content or SEO. And I mean, it's so hard to find people that don't give you some kind of cookie cutter response that ultimately you're just disappointed in. And you know, online customer care is horrible. And Brooke has basically reinvented it. And I just became so impressed with what she was doing. And then last year, she was saying, oh my gosh, you know, I can't keep up with this. I'm growing. And oh my gosh, you know, I'm just fighting this fire and fighting this fire. And I thought, gosh, you know, she's growing so fast. And I'm at a point in my life where I was missing sort of being part of something bigger. I love, you know, I'm not one of these guys that said I could never work for a big company. I worked for a big company for 27 years. I had a ball. Started my own company about 12 years ago. And I sort of missed being part of something bigger and having a team and building something. And we started talking about sort of moving our businesses closer together over the holidays. I actually came up with a deal. Then the virus hit. I got sick. And we had to sort of think, okay, what makes sense going forward? So we had to, you know, regroup and rethink a little bit. And now basically I'm going to be the chief operating officer for her business, you know, kind of attach myself to this rocket ship and help her navigate this growth. She's even growing now in this crisis. And it literally is just a company I believe in so much because she's mastered the scalable process. She can scale without losing that high touch human connection. She's cracked the code on it. It's something very different. So online customer care, social media support, digital advertising, it's just at a different level. And I helped her with her strategy. And as I got into it and really realized how bad everything else is out there, I thought, wow, this is something I really believe in. So I'll continue to blog, I'll continue to write, continue to speak, I'll write my books, do some consulting, but this is really where my heart is right now, is helping her navigate the growth in her business.
As the saying goes, small enough to care, big enough to make a difference. And, the driving thesis behind Built to Suck is that at some point, I mean, even Malcolm Gladwell talks about what is that, the law of 100, that at a certain size, companies just start to self-destruct because they don't know how to scale. They don't know how to scale humanity. They don't know how to get bigger without losing that spark. And I think in your announcement, I think it was actually on Instagram, you said something that really caught my eye. You said, I will stake my personal reputation on this company. And I thought to myself, how many people are prepared to, there are people that shill, but do they really believe? Do they really put their heart? Are they really prepared to stick their neck out and say, I stake my own reputation? And that demonstrates that you're all in. And it's interesting to me, Mark, because on Friday, I've got Brian Solis. He just joined Salesforce.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if we're an endangered species, the independent public speakers and authors and thought leaders. That's my way of saying, if anyone's looking to hire me full time, I'm available. But seriously, it's kind of interesting that you and Brian now are part of something bigger, and that can't be a bad thing.
Well, I mean, from my perspective, I have to say, Joseph, that I love what I do. I mean, I'm at least before the virus, let's say the virus sort of changed everything in my business. But I mean, the writing and the freedom and going out and being able to see people like you around the world. I mean, I have fun every single day. So it wasn't that I was dissatisfied. It's just, I think you really hit on it, that when I do things for my business, every blog post I write, every podcast episode I create, every book, here's the only thing that goes through my mind. I will never let you down. I will never let you down. If you grant me this gift of your time, it will be worth your time. It'll be interesting. Maybe it'll even be a little, entertaining. And that's where Brooke is too. It's just like, she just has this intense commitment and this personal pride. She just will not let anybody down. And that's one of the strong ways I think that we're really aligned. We've got just great chemistry that way.
I love it. And as you can see, Mark, I've now for the first time created this. I've never really used the picture-in-picture so well, but this is a way for us to support.
Good job. Yeah.
Yeah. So now we can support Bob while we continue talking and supporting Brooke and supporting you. You said something so amazing there. This idea, I will never let you down. Mm-hmm. And I wonder how many people can say that every day of their lives, every blog post, every interaction, to be all in. That's my phrase. That's my hashtag for you, Mark Schaefer. You are just all in everything you do. If you're not going to do it properly, don't do it at all. And I think that's what that screams out at me. It's gonna change the way that I create content, where I start thinking to myself, am I letting my readers, my viewers, my fans, if I have any fans, down because I'm not on top of my game? I need to be on top of my game.
Well, I sort of learned this. I got this insight from a great PR professional. Maybe you know Shonali Burke. So Shonali is a great PR professional in Washington, D.C. And I actually interviewed her for my book, a book that I wrote called The Content Code, because Shonali shares my content all the time. And I know she shares it sometimes, even if she doesn't read it. And I said, why me? Why do you share my content? And she said that phrase. She said, Mark, because I know you will never let me down. And that's why I trust you. I know I can share your content because I know where your heart is. I know that you're doing your best. And, even if you end up being wrong someday, you'll never let me down because I know you're doing your best. And that is the essence of trust. That's where, for people to connect with you, for people to share your content, for people to hire you eventually. You've got to build that trust. And I think that trust is built on this idea of this is someone that will not let me down. I think in the modern world, Joseph, we see this as a symbol when people put stickers on their laptop computers. I think that's a symbol of, you know, this is like an extension of my brand. This is an extension of me. I'm going to show the world that I've got this Yeti sticker on my whatever. I'm wearing a Yeti hat or, you know, whatever their favorite brand is, because they won't let me down. And I think that's what it takes for a brand or a business to be an extension of a personality like that.
Mm. You know what it makes me think of? It's in my studio. Sorry, because I forgot. I was going to say office, but this is a studio. You can see.
I know, it's very impressive.
Yeah, look at that. That's amazing, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
There's something I want to show you, and so I think I'll go show it to you quickly, because, you know, we can still be a little informal. I just hope you don't see that I'm not wearing pants. But this is what it makes me think of, Mark. When I moved to the US, I ended up working at Ogilvy and Mather, and this was my name tag, but it was a magnet. I mean, it's come off now, but it was a magnet, and they would just pop it on the door. Mm-hmm. But people were always being hired and fired and laid off and rotated, and they just take the magnet off and move it around. And I thought to myself, that's not loyalty. That's not the Yeti sticker on the laptop.
Yeah, right.
You should solder this. You should screw it in so that every time you have to move a person, you got to pretty much take down the whole door. But that's the commitment to your laptop. When you put that Yeti sticker on your laptop, you're basically saying, if I have to pull this thing off now, it's going to leave an ugly mark. I better be sure about this alliance, right?
I love that. I love that. I love that metaphor. I really do. I love that. It blends perfectly with the laptop sticker idea.
So
I think my goal in life is to be a laptop sticker.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. We should we manufacture the
I've
Schaefer sticker?
I've got marketing. I've got a marketing rebellion stickers. Actually, I'll send people if they want. It says marketing rebel, and it has that cool, like, you know, peace sign thing that's on my book. So if you guys want, look at you. You are insane.
How did I do that?
How did I do that? You're insane.
I literally only prepared 2 slides, and these are the 2.
Great. Well,
so we're having fun.
Send me a DM or whatever, you know. Send me whatever however you're connected to me, and if you want a marketing rebel sticker, I'll send you one.
Or you can come, or I should say, or don't come to the Zoom after show, where Mark won't share some of his business tips for operating during a pandemic and won't send you a sticker. Don't come to that special intimate Zoom after show. It's just for 4 or 5 of us. No, but Mark, the reason why I wanted to show your most recent book, your fantastic book, is twofold. One is because, you know, I started CoronaTV based on the fact that there were people at home that were struggling, that were looking to be inspired, that were looking to learn, that were still buying books. And then there were authors who suddenly weren't speaking anymore. But again, people still could be buying books. And so it's still a way to connect. But that was the one thing. And the other thing is, I'm curious as to what your thoughts are now coming through COVID-19, as to looking back even at this book. What's changed? What hasn't changed? What should change? What addendum would you now kind of overlay on top of this wonderful book?
Well, it's funny because a few weeks into the pandemic, people were writing me, and someone mentioned on a podcast interview, actually, they said, your book was prescient. You sort of forecast what could happen and what companies needed to do. And I think the pandemic is an accelerator in many ways. I think we're going to look back at this and say, you know, it didn't really make that many changes in our life. It probably just accelerated a lot of things that were going to happen anyway in terms of, you know, online buying and different consumer behaviors and working from home and so forth. And it's the same thing really with the idea behind the marketing rebellion. The main thesis of this is that a lot of our traditional marketing and advertising doesn't work like it used to, because these highly technology enabled, always on customers that have the accumulated knowledge of the human race in the palm of their hand have a different expectation of how they want to connect with us. And in fact, they're in charge. They're in control. The customer is the marketer. They own the customer journey. Now, here's the interesting thing, Joseph, that happened during this pandemic. We see this this dichotomy of things that are going on. So here were these companies that held on to the old ways. They went to their advertising agency and they said, oh, we need to show that we're sensitive during the pandemic. And it became a meme. All these ads, they looked the same. They became annoying because they don't know what else to do. They're just holding on to this legally approved scripted playbook that is irrelevant. Now, some companies got into the trenches. They rolled up their sleeves. They got in the communities. You know, our local, I guess it was Burger King. You know, they said the first, you know, in the first week, they were giving free meals to medical workers. They were, you know, they just got down in the trenches. There are a lot of businesses that have done that, right? And so they said, you know, we need to get down into where people are right now. People don't want to hear that you care. They want to see that you care. And you just can't turn to an advertising agency and say, you know, make the letters in our logo, move apart so we show that we're social distancing or something, right? People want to see, I'm suffering. I lost my job. I don't know, you know, I'm afraid. I'm so stressed because I'm trying to do this job from home with children crawling all over me and they have to be homeschooled. And and I just coughed and I don't know what to make of that, right? And we're in this hyper culture of stress and strain and suffering, and everyone we know is grieving. Everyone has loss. It just could be the loss of freedom to going to our favorite pub. I just learned some of our local theaters aren't booking live shows until a year from now. A year from now, without music, you know? And so, you know, grieving, I'm getting emotional. You know, now that, you know, we've been through the virus, I can't, you know, I'm not contagious. I can't give it to anybody. So, you know, my daughter came to visit me and this was the first hug she had in like 10 weeks. And, you know, tears were flowing down her face. Everyone is grieving. And we have to realize that. It's like marketing today is like marketing to someone who's at a funeral, who's just experiencing loss in so many different ways. And if you just do this advertising playbook stuff, it's just not going to work. It's just tone deaf. And you're just, so that's basically what I predicted in my book. And the companies that got down in the trenches and connected with people where they need to be right now, that's who we're going to remember. That's where that emotional connection is going to be, because they were there when we needed them.
Daniel said, imagine a horde of marketing rebels working for companies that are just built to suck. That is a recipe for cataclysmic change, maybe. I guess that means we have to combine forces. But, you know, Mark, you said it so beautifully. Sometimes, first of all, there is no playbook for what we're going through. And whatever playbook you have, it's time to tear it up and throw it out. And with that, your brand guidelines. Because right now, the more we try and predict and control, the less in control we will be. And it is the companies, as you said, that are prepared to roll up their sleeves and put their head down and do the right thing for the right reasons and just get on with it. Just get on with it, because that's how we will make it through. And Mark, when I see you next, I'm going to give you a giant bear hug, my friend.
Oh, that would be great. And how we will appreciate those beautiful small joys in life when we get through this, huh?
I'm telling you, for more information on Mark, you probably should be following him a variety of ways. On Twitter, I think you're Mark W. Schaefer. You can go to businessesgrow.com. You can find out more about him at B Squared Media, his new home, but he's going to continue doing that beautiful voodoo that he does so well. And right now, Mark, we are going to head over to the Zoom room, but you guys shouldn't come, right?
No. So
Bits.ly.
I'm just going to talk about like unique strategies and stuff.
We're going to talk about magnetized employee and stickers. So bits.ly/CoronaTV after show. Mark, my friend, thank you so much for coming in.
It's been a joy.
Truly a pleasure. That was Mark Schaefer. It was just amazing. I get to spend more time with him right now. You can too. So come on over, and he will continue to brighten your day. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.